Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's Pastor Court here. I just want to take a few moments today to wish you well and hope that you're having a great week. What a great weekend we had on campus this past weekend as we saw many of you take some time up front and online to just sort of express your desire with God to receive the gifts that He had. I've been blessed this week to hear a lot of feedback from the past weekend, and one gentleman I talked to in Palm Bay talked to me today, and he mentioned the idea that the gospel should be simple, and that what we should do is we should just take the redemption and we should just learn to serve and love other people. And I thought about that today while I was driving, just to take the redemption. You know, we're not very good at taking things that we haven't earned. We don't like people to give us things. They tend to make us uncomfortable. We tend to wonder if there's something connected to it. I think part of the reason why the gospel is just so difficult for people to accept is that we're just not very good at accepting gifts. And the great thing about the gospel is it is truly a gift. The Bible says over and over and over again that God so loved us that He gave us His Son. The debt that Jesus paid was a gift. John tells us that Jesus laid down His life for us. I'm convinced that part of the reason why so many Christians get stuck and they get stalled in their faith is that it's just almost an impossibility for us as humans to think for a second that we are truly loved in that way, that the gift is free, that the obligation is free, that it doesn't exist, and that we can truly take the redemption and we can learn to live in the grace that God gives us. I think that's why Paul said in his letter to Titus that it is the grace of God that ultimately will teach us how to say no to unrighteousness. I think it's imperative for all of us to learn to live in that freedom, whether it means we are free from the idea that there's a bondage that's held us for 13 years and we need to be set free from, whether it's the bondage of thinking that nobody knows me, or that if anybody saw me, then I would be ashamed and embarrassed, that we don't have to worry about that. Jesus knows everything about us. And I think ultimately it's about knowing that we stand before God completely debt-free. And nothing that we do from the moment that we've received that redemption changes that. That the debt's been paid, that for God to be just, He has to stand by that. And it's a guarantee. And the presence of God, Holy Spirit, reminds us of that. So listen, I just want to encourage you this week. I want to encourage you that if there's an area in your life where you're stuck, to truly lean into and accept the gift that Jesus has given you, man, I want you to set some goals for yourself to learn how to do that. You know, Paul said, forget what's behind and reach forward to what is ahead. That's great advice. Not always easy to do. But if you're truly going to learn to live in faith and truly learn to live the life that God has for you, man, we've got to learn to receive something for nothing. Pastor Joe's going to be back this week, and he's going to continue our great series, The One Who Changed History Forever. And he's going to tell you an amazing story about a woman who had this unbelievable desire to let people know who Jesus was. And I can't wait for you to hear that message. It's going to be life-changing for some of you. And speaking of life-changing, Voice of the Martyrs Conference is coming this weekend. And so there's still time to sign up. It's going to be a packed house. It's going to be a great day on Saturday from 9 to 3. You can go to vom.tomoka.cc to sign up, and we encourage you to do that. Listen, Joe and I love being your pastors. Have a great week.